All right, y'all, I have absolutely colossal breaking news here for you. So it just happened. Israel has officially just attacked Iran. Now, understand something. This in no way, shape, or form was defensive. This was an offensive strike, a war of aggression that was just launched by Netanyahu against Iran. So now add it to the list of the countries that Israel is currently bombing. And understand something. This is not like those other countries. Iran is much more powerful than those other countries. So they're attacking Lebanon, they're attacking Syria and stealing large swaths of Syria. And of course, they're doing a genocide in Gaza, and they're trying to take over the West Bank as well. Now, the bloodthirsty, genocidal, neocon, imperialist psychopath, Netanyahu, just launched a war of aggression against Iran. So this is a colossal deal. If you watch this channel, you already knew that this was going to happen, that it was imminent, that this was going to happen, because what we learned the other day was that the U.S. basically did an emergency evacuation of our military personnel in our bases in the region. And as I told you at the time, the only reason they would do that is because there's a plan to immediately attack Iran. And that is exactly what happened here. So Dropsite News says the following: multiple explosions have rocked Tehran overnight as Israeli forces launch strikes on the Iranian capital. Over a dozen blasts were heard, some from interceptions, others from direct impacts. Anti-aircraft fire lit up the sky. Iranian authorities have not yet released a statement. Israel is preparing for retaliatory strikes. So in Israel, they just declared a state of emergency. They're fully expecting some sort of drone attack in response from Iran, some sort of retaliatory strike. But everybody needs to understand something very clearly. This 100% did not have to happen. This is a war of choice brought about not only by Netanyahu, by the way, but also by the Trump regime. So oil prices are absolutely skyrocketing right now because of the attack on Iran. And then Ryan Grimm said the following: the U.S. and Iran were scheduled to meet Sunday to continue nuclear talks. Trump told Israel publicly and privately not to attack before the talks were over. Israel clearly believes they can force the U.S. into this war of their choosing. Now, I have to say, Ryan, that is what they are pretending, but it's all kayfabe. The reality is, Trump absolutely gave Netanyahu the green light behind the scenes. In fact, he literally said it publicly in 2024. He said, Israel, if you want to attack, you can go ahead and attack. Go ahead and attack. But if you attack their nuclear sites, Israel. Attack their nuclear sites. And that is literally exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. Now, by the way, the most important point, which unfortunately nobody's going to make, but everybody should be making it, is you never should have pulled out of the Iranian nuclear agreement, you fucking psychopath. Donald Trump got in there and ripped up one of Obama's crowning achievements. It was a nuclear peace deal with Iran. All that happened under that deal is we lifted sanctions on them, returned the money to them that we stole from them, right? It was their money and we returned it to them. And then they would allow in the UN, the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, to regulate their nuclear program and make sure they only enrich to levels where they could do scientific research and for power for their power grid. And everything was working perfectly. Over a dozen times they went in there and validated and verified Iran is following this deal perfectly. We have no problems here. Then what did Trump do? He got in there, ripped up the agreement, lit it on fire, took a shit on it, and then boom, that led us to where we are today, where again, they are actively making a choice to attack Iran. This is Netanyahu's war, and this is Trump's war. All of Trump's bullshit posturing about, I'm the peace candidate, Kamala's a warmonger, Liz Cheney only wants to shoot people in the face. This is the neocon wet dream. That's what this is. In fact, Trump has gone above and beyond neocon warmongering. He's doing full imperialist warmongering, which is why he also threatens Greenland on a regular basis, threatens Canada, threatens Panama, currently bombing Yemen, currently bombing Somalia as well. The list is endless. And so literally taking 50% of all of Ukraine's natural resources in an exploitative imperialist deal to exploit them. Just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So now we have war with Iran. And so Israel attacked Iran here. Iran has to retaliate. They have no other options, right? And then what's going to happen? My guess is a much wider regional war, and the U.S. is going to jump in on the side of Israel, which, by the way, Trump also said that. It was either in a Newsweek interview or a Time magazine interview. Trump said, He was asked, hey, what if Netanyahu drags you into a war? And he says, Netanyahu won't drag us into a war. He's not going to drag us into a war. But if Netanyahu goes to war with Iran, we'll go willingly. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I need every single fucking idiot out there, because I warned everybody about this. Every idiot who pretended, oh, Donald Trump's the peace candidate. We need mass apology forms, because there were a few of us who were telling the truth from the beginning. And everybody just fucking swatted aside everything we said. But the reason I said the things I said is because we have the record. This is the same guy who increased drone strikes over 400% in his first term. He bombed Syria multiple times. He bombed Somalia. He said I was occupying a third of Syria to, quote, take the oil. He increased the Pentagon budget every single year. He assassinated General Soleimani, who was a top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS. This is what he did in his first term, tried to coup Venezuela. Let Saudi Arabia commit a genocide and then kept arming them as they did it. And even when the Senate tried to block us from sending any more weapons to the genocidal Saudi regime, he vetoed that. The guy has a track record of warmongering. He dropped the Moab on Afghanistan. Moab stands for Mother of All Bombs. He hired every neocon in Washington, D.C. in his first administration. He pardoned Blackwater war criminals. What are we talking about here? This is the guy who said, we need to take out the families of terrorists. He doesn't give a fuck about civilian life. He doesn't give a fuck about being anti-war. He says whatever he wants to in the moment if he thinks it makes himself sound good. That's what he does. But his track record is what matters, and his track record is massively, massively pro-war. And now everybody's really getting a taste of that. They are really getting a taste of that. Because war with Iran is here. And as I said, Trump definitely greenlit this behind the scenes. There's no way Netanyahu would have done it without Trump greenlighting it. It really is that simple. And by the way, the evidence for that, as we already pointed out, is that we withdrew our troops that were in the region, knowing there might be retaliatory strikes against them. Well, you only do that if the plan is already set in stone. So at the same time, this fucking fascist is deploying the U.S. military in the streets of Los Angeles. And he's also, by the way, planning on doing it in other major Democratic cities like Seattle and Washington and New York. At the same time he's doing that and having his fascist military parade, we're also launching another giant war in the Middle East. Jesus fucking Christ. Absolutely shameful, absolutely disgusting, and let's be crystal clear about this. Iran did nothing wrong. Nothing. They're not creating a nuke. They're only insisting on having nuclear power for their power grid and for scientific research. That's all they've ever done. And they're surrounded by absolute bloodthirsty, psychopathic, frothing at the mouth Israeli warmongers. That's who they're surrounded by. And so between that and the U.S., which never met a war we didn't fucking love, this is where we are. So this is the moment where you look in the mirror and go, wait, are we the baddies? And the answer is fucking yes. Fucking obviously. It's not even close. This was a non-issue. Hence the Iranian nuclear agreement that Obama did, and everything was going swimmingly until the psychopath warmonger Trump decided, I'm going to rip this up for no fucking reason whatsoever, just because I don't like Obama. Well, congratulations. Now we have another giant war in the Middle East. So Iran is under attack as I speak to you right now. At least 12 different bombings. They went after many nuclear sites, probably other sites as well. Israel is expecting a response. Iran's in a position where they kind of have to respond, right? If they don't respond, it's like, well, we're sitting ducks. You can do whatever you want to us, no matter what, and we ain't going to do shit back, right? So now they have to. And then what happens in that scenario? Here's what's going to happen. The U.S. media and U.S. politicians, they will fucking crow at the top of their lungs. Oh, this unprovoked offensive attack from Iran against poor little Israel that did nothing wrong. Oh. They'll do that. And then try to build up the propaganda to get us to go to war on Israel's behalf with Iran. So they'll act like, why would Iran do this? Even though they were literally just attacked offensively and aggressively first by Israel. They'll act like, how dare they retaliate in any way, shape, or form? Oh, we need to do something to protect our dear beloved Israel. That's what's going to happen. So get ready for the endless mainstream media propaganda about how we need to go to war with Iran to protect Israel from Iran's aggression. Get ready for that, and get ready for the warmongering politicians in this country. Certainly every Republican is going to be like, yeah, where's the question? Let's go. Let's go, baby. Locked and loaded. They're all in. So get ready for it, because it's about to get really, really, really fucking ugly, man. It's about to get really ugly. Shame on anybody who voted for this guy. Shame on anybody who helped spread the propaganda that he was anti-war. Nothing was further from the truth, and we already had the record to prove it. But a bunch of people, a bunch of idiots insisted on wanting to play make-believe, wanting to pretend like, no, Trump is actually anti-war, bro, watch. Well, here you go. Piece of evidence number 9,716 that that's not true, and we were right all along.